Hello, Valley View students and parents. Today we're talking about graduation. And graduation seems pretty straightforward, but they've made it a little bit more complicated the last few years. And we want to make sure everyone's on the same page. In order to get you to graduate, we got to let you know how to graduate. So that is what we're going to be doing right now. The reason graduation has changed is because, well, everybody's a little bit different. You're a little bit different. You might be going to college, you might be going to the military, you might be going to a career already straight out of high school. And we want the way you graduate to reflect what you're going to be doing after high school once you leave this building. So the state has actually provided a number of different ways you can graduate, but everybody has one common requirement. Once you meet this requirement, then you can move on to the different options. And that requirement is your course credits. The state has a minimum of 20, but Valley View bumps it up to 22, and that's the one you're going to have to hit. So once you meet these credits, then you can jump into the three options that the state has for you. But before we do that, I want to show you a little bit of the breakdown of the credits at Valley View. All right, so we're trying to hit 22. So in English and math, in your 4 years here, you have to have 4 credits. Science, you have 3. Social studies, 3. Health and PE, you both need a half credit for that. And then you make up the remaining 7 in whatever elective you so choose. Each grade level has a different set of electives that they can take. So when you register for classes, be sure to really comb through all the options before you and make sure that whatever you plan on doing after high school, that you're taking the courses that match up with that field. Again, once you meet those credits, then we get to choose from the 3 pathways. The 3 pathways are these. The first one, if you don't really know what your plans are and you're just going to try to make sure you do high school well, you're trying to hit the 18 points on the state tests. At the end of certain courses in high school, we give you a test. Each test scores you from 1 to 5, and you have to hit at least 18 points. There are 7 tests, so theoretically you could get a 35, but 18 is what we're shooting for. And I'll go over those more in depth here in a bit. The second option you have before you is if you know you want to go into the workforce, you want to be a carpenter, a welder, a cosmetologist, any of those fields, then you can actually get certified by their standards. You might need a license to cut hair or a journeyman's certificate to do carpentry or something of that nature. And if you can get them to say you're ready for the workforce, then we happily agree with that. And all you need to do is score a certain point total on your Workkeys, which is an assessment that we can set you up with. The third option is for anybody planning on going to college. If you're already trying to score into college, you'll be taking the ACT or the SAT, and there are certain scores that you can achieve on those tests that the state allows you to use as a qualification for graduation. So we're going to go through each of these, but that's just the basic overview. So let's talk about the 18 points on the state tests. Even though there are 7 tests, they lump a few of the tests together and then give you a minimum. So there's 2 English tests. On these tests, you have to score a minimum of 4 points. So you can do 2 and 2, 1 and 3. I guess you could theoretically do 4 and 0, but in the 2 English tests, you have to hit 4. Same thing with the 2 math tests. You have to hit 4. Then on the remaining 3 tests, there's 1 science, 1 US history, and then 1 US government. And on those 3 tests, you have to hit at least 6 points. The remaining 4 points are completely up to you. You might be able to score higher in math than English. So if you get a 5 on math and a 2 on English, you're still averaging at a rate that'll get you to graduate. So the idea is that a low score in one test will make up for, a high score in one test will make up for a low score in the other one. And then here's a list of the tests that you will need to take at the end of these courses. So there's 2 for English, 2 for math, and 3 for the other cluster, which is science and history combined. And then as I mentioned before, they do rank you on a 1 to 5 scale, 5 being the best, 1 not being the best, and then you are trying to hit 18 points total. And again, the idea is that a high score in one can kind of make up for a low score in the other. The state is recognizing that you might be good at one and not at the other, and they're allowing you to succeed under that guideline. Okay, what about retakes? What if I take a test and I don't like my score? Well, you're free to retake it when we are providing them, which should be at the semester mark, and then again at the end of the year. Whenever a course ends, we'll do the end of course testing, and you are free to take whatever test you would like. However, I do think that there should be a conversation there. We want you to do really well, and there's no point in stressing about, raising a, 3 up to a 4 in a subject matter that you're not successful at and one that you don't want to do long term after high school. Why don't we try to then push you towards your strengths in the field that you want to go to and raise the score in a different subject matter? So there's a lot to be aware of there, and this is just an overview. But if you would like to talk more about the end of course tests, by all means, stop by a counselor. There's one additional caveat for the class of 2018. If you took an AP course or a CCP course, we don't offer international baccalaureate, but if it's an AP or a CCP course, they will actually allow you to substitute those classes for this test, and there's a way to correlate the scores and so on. That'll be a more in-depth conversation that we will have face-to-face. At Valley View, we do allow you to take AP biology and then AP US history in house, and then there are others online. But come and talk to us about that. Same thing with CCP. There's a longer video that we are in the process of making that might be up by the time you view this, and that'll explain CCP in a lot more depth. All right, the second pathway. All right, you've met your 22 credits. The second way that you can graduate is to receive your industry recognized credential and to score a work readiness score on the Workkeys. The idea here is that if you can get someone else to say you are good to work in the workforce, then we are not going to argue. If they've certified you, you can continue to build that skill, and you leave high school with a way to provide, a way to take care of yourself, and a way to better the world. There are a total of different credentials available. There's a lot of them. They come from a number of different career clusters. So we don't really have all the numbers on that. But if you just look at this chart right here, there are so many different career fields that you can take an industry recognized credential in, such as business, and then there's communication, there's engineering, there's human services, there's information technology, there's all kinds of things. So we can talk more in depth about that if you are planning on doing the industry recognized credential. And then the last thing is the Workkeys. The Workkeys has a number of different sections, and then each section has a score as well. If you earn at least 3 points on all the sections, you should be good. And we can talk more about the Workkeys when you come and talk to us. The third option, this is for those of you who are college bound. So again, you still have to meet your 22 credit requirement. And then when you take the ACT or the SAT to score into college, there are certain scores that the state accepts as being considered remediation free. This chart will explain them. For example, if you get a 22 or higher in your English, you are considered remediation free on the ACT. It should be noted that that is only for those who entered high school prior to July 1st of 2014. And then, you got to find where you fit on this chart and then make sure that you at least score that score. Once you do, then the state will allow you to graduate. All right, now if you've met your credit requirements and you can't really meet one of those three options, there's actually yet another way that you can graduate. All right, this is only available for those students who entered ninth grade between July 1st, 2014 and June 30th, 2015. So this is just a certain group of students that we're talking about. So you met your credits, but you can't meet those other three. Here's your option. You still have to pass your courses. You still have to take your 22 credits. You have to still take all 7 of the end of course exams. And if you score a 1 or a 2, they make you retake it again. But if you've done that and you still don't meet the point total, then you have to meet at least 2 of the other 9 alternatives. All right, so here are a few of them. You can have an attendance rate of 93% during the 12th grade year. You can earn a GPA of 2.4 on the 4.0 scale. During 12th grade, you can complete a district capstone project during the 12th grade. There's also ways to get 120 hours voluntarily or working. You can earn 3 or more CCP credits during high school. I mean, they just keep going. There's all kinds of different ways that you can meet this requirement, but this is only if you've met your credits. You do not sufficiently meet one of the 3 options. You have to complete 2 of these 9. Additionally, if you are in the same group of people and you attend the Miami Valley Career Center, Career and Technology Center, then you have to complete one of the other alternatives that they provide. So you can earn a proficient or better based on all career technology exams. You can earn an industry recognized credential that equals 12 points on the Workkeys, or you can complete 250 hours of work. But remember, if you go to the MVCTC, then you only have to meet one of these. If you don't go to the Miami Valley Career Technology Center, then you have to meet 2 of the previous 9. So it's a little confusing, and we want you to stop by and ask all the questions you have, or you can go to the government website and they can provide you with that information as well. So just in summary, everybody has to meet 22 credits. Then you can choose one of the 3 pathways, whether it's the end of course points, the work credentials and the Workkeys test, or the remediation free scores on the ACT or the SAT. If you can't complete those, then you have to retake the course. You have to retake the end of course tests. Then you have to meet 2 of the 9 alternative requirements, unless you go to the CTC, in which case you have to meet one of their 3. It sounds complicated because it is, and if you have any questions, please come and talk to us. We would love to help you out, but this is the basic